Dichroic glass man. How you doing? Well, it's going to be a different kind of a video because this is kind of a video that touches me, and I know for a fact in my street conversations it affects a lot of people. And it's kind of a weird subject, and it's called pain. Easy to spell, easy to be in the circumstance where you know you've got a little bit of expertise on the subject. Kind of want to look at a couple things because there's a remedy in this. Not just talking about my battle wound, your battle wound, whatever. That doesn't get us anywhere. We're not going to compare wounds. I want to give you a new way of looking at pain itself. We're all 100% full. Can we agree that we all have 100% of something? We've got maybe our interest in PlayStation over here, and maybe here, let's draw it on there. Maybe a portion of us is concerned with landscaping. Maybe this much of your church. Maybe that much of your life is consumed with your work. Maybe your girlfriend, your dog. Maybe your interest in other. So we've got this 100% pie. Yesterday I had a conversation with an officer, and he wanted to say, because I've had a lot of injuries in my life, and he wanted to say, dude, you're probably in more pain than me. And I said, Doug, don't be looking at it like that. Let me show you a new way of seeing pain as far as comparatively. Folks, what we don't want to do is start comparing ourselves to each other. Oh, you must really hurt more. Well, in some cases it's pretty obvious. Your stub toe and this guy's surgery from blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, you might be able to do that. But here's the thing that makes it relative. Out of the 100% of the pie, perhaps I'm involved with pain that much. Perhaps you're only involved with it that much. You've got a pretty successful life. You've been doing well, you've been staying fit, you've been eating the right food, you don't do this, you do a lot of walking, whatever it happens to be that got you into that place, I envy you. You might only have the 5% mark going on. There was a time in my life that this big area was consumed with pain. I was in the original Motrin program when I got my injury in 1972. 1972, I crushed my right foot off in a horse accident. I'll give you a little bit of a description in a picture, but I want you to keep this model in mind, because here's the thing. What makes pain relevant to each one of us is how much of your life is consumed with pain. Don't try to measure my pain against your pain. What's important is you're not managing pain that much in your life, sir. So you can't compare to a life of an individual, you, me, the viewer, who's had a life based on a lot of pain, to where maybe there's only 5% left for entertainment. I don't have that luxury. A large part of my life was based on pain. March 22nd was my 45th year of being in chronic pain. I've seen level 9. Level 9 we don't want to talk about. 10, let's don't even have a conversation. You don't want to be in there. When you talk to a person in pain, don't compare your ankle to his, because you can do 13 push-ups and he can do 3. See what I'm saying? Because he can play a guitar solo and you can't. See what I'm saying? Is we got to allow people to have their own belief system and their own way they see things. So what you might want to do with somebody who's in pain is start getting into some of the conversation. Well, how much of your life does it affect you, sir? Wow. Well, then I'm thinking, ask the right questions. You'll get some answers, and be prepared for those answers. So we're going to look at a lot of different things here. I did my injury in 1972. This is a brace that I had to have because they were going to fuse my ankle. It was a very unique injury, kind of like the injury of the tornado that shoots a blade of grass into a tree or a window, and the blade of grass is stuck in the window, and it's like, how in the world did that happen without breaking the window? Well, this was a freak accident. I was 17 years old, and right across the street from Columbine High School, by the way. And let me take my brace off. What they wanted, why I wear this brace is I can't move my ankle. My ankle is fusing, and I have very limited mobility. I can't much move it. What they wanted to do is about 8 years into 1972, so around 1980, I was introduced to this brace. I've worn this brace a large part of my life. As a result, it blew out my knee. I've had massive knee cartilage operation, old school, big old scar, and that's another story. But anyway, this brace was to immobilize my ankle so that it doesn't move. Got some lipstick over here I borrowed from a friend of mine, kind of give you an idea what's going on, because from the camera over here you can't see my scar, and we're not trying to impress anybody with a scar. But what happened is, right here, I'm just going to follow the dotted line. Right here, and this is the side, and that's the side. I know where the scars are, I can see them from here. So I have 3 scars. I've had 3 operations to put my foot back on. I crushed my foot off. What happened was when I jumped from my horse, and I had to, and we won't get into that because we got a lot of material to cover. But what happened is, inside of my cowboy boot, the toes broke because my horse stood on my ankle while I was on the sidewalk like this, turned on my ankle with his hoof. It was a dangerous circumstance. We talk about that from the horse angle of how dangerous it was, but let's get through this quick. He's turned and pirouetted, and it caused my foot to break off inside my cowboy boot, only skeletally. The toes no longer were here. The toes were right here. The toes were right about in this area right here, because the foot broke and went upward. So it just, the whole thing went up. Freaky thing when they cut my boot off when I was 17 years old. They cut it off. The bones are still down there bleeding, doing their thing. Things twitching, and it was crazy. I can still remember it like it happened yesterday. And the foot was up here twitching, and the toes are like right below my kneecap. So anyway, we get the picture. Anyway, the bones came out this hole. Even the round knob came out of the hole. It was funny. They took my cowboy boot and poured the bones into the pan. Now, this isn't anything different than somebody's farm accident. You could be a skier. I mean, I broke it in 12 places. 12 little bones came out. Well, I don't know how the doctors, their metric system, but, it was double compound fracture. Both bones came out the hole. Well, they were standing in the same place. Foot's up here twitching. They put it back on. I've had nerve damage now for 45 years. Some people, you don't have to break a bone. You don't have to have blood. You can have nerve damage and be a quadriplegic, a quad, a para, all these different levels of nerve damage where people are incapacitated. This video is about pain, and it's about how you're managing it. And if it consumes this much of your life, or this piece, or even this piece, is something to pay attention to. I'm supposed to, this is the side right here where they reconstructed it. It goes down from about here to right here, and this is the part where they put it back together. And then this was another operation to take the hardware out. They took out all the steel pins and all the dust and dust. So I've had 3 operations. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is a bucket full of ice. For the rest of my life, and my physical strength and conditioning coach, Adam Combs, is my confidant, and he knows what's up. He's very aware of how an athlete, and I'm not an athlete, however, his solution as an athlete is he recommends to do this. I've been doing this for a long time, off and on for years. This is ice water. I don't like this. That hurts, and it hurts every day. And the purpose of this video is because I have found a way. I'm only talking about one injury, 2. But I've had many injuries in my body over my course of life, a lot. Some people think a way lot. I'm supposed to stick this foot in this water for 20 minutes. I don't like it. It stings because of the nerve damage at times. But I know it helps my circulation. My foot is not swollen. Check this out. My foot's not swollen, but looks like a horse knee. When it gets swollen, it could stick out way far. In fact, it's kind of like obvious that my foot's swollen. So this is supposed to help me every day have a day for circulation. I have been on level 6, 7, 8, 9 most of my life. You don't want to talk about the 9s. So we absolutely forbidden we don't talk about a 10. So I know there's a lot of people that have had their share of accidents, from skiing to farming to soccer to, my gosh, we have so much opportunity to get hurt. Well, it's been 45 years, folks, and I've had to do some extreme things. Extreme times call for extreme measures, and I've had to make some very difficult choices. There's many elements in my life I could not participate in. The pain was too much, so I'll sit in my lawn chair, you guys go ahead. That kind of mentality. Sometimes you sit out the game and you don't want anybody to know. It's been 45 years of my life. There's a whole lot of times I didn't want anybody to know. And for you pain people, I understand what the things that we've had to excuse ourselves from the table of life about to go sit down because we knew we couldn't participate. But yet the rest of us says, look, I can, I want to, but dang it, I'm pissed about this. So anyway, 3 weeks ago, somebody surprised me with an idea, and trust me folks, you can't imagine. I was in the original Motrin plan in 1972 when the injury happened. I helped test all 5 levels, I think it was 5 or 6, of Motrin, and my vote wasn't a determining value, but they were using people with extreme injuries. This was a candidate for amputation. Extreme injuries with Motrin to see which Motrin worked. I have no idea what number Motrin we have today, but I was in the original pilot program. So it stings because of this ice water, bag of ice, every morning for the rest of my life. And in addition, this cropped up. I was invited to an opportunity. A lady took me to a meeting, and here's what the bag looks like. This is Orange Dream, caffeine free. And what it is it's ketones, and or ketones. And you can tell how unfamiliar I am with this science. This is called ketones, and I'm going to start selling it because I'm a believer. And I'm going to tell you a couple freaky things. Now, from somebody, I consider myself a pretty good canary in a cage as far as pain goes. We're not talking about the rest of my injuries, although I'll slip one in. Open heart surgery from here to here, 5 bypass last year. I drove myself home from the hospital on day 9. So don't think that I'm going to lay down on the couch because I stubbed my toe and went, ooh, I got an owie. I definitely need to set this up that I'm not your average guy. Pain is something I don't register very well. There's been many opportunities in my life that if I would have looked down, I could have, if I would have knew I was hurt, I could have avoided some of the pain that I went through, because pain is a safety mechanism. And if you don't feel pain, you can bleed out. And that happened to me almost twice. Didn't realize I was hurt, and I could have bled out. So I was introduced to this, and the next day I was out of pain. I lived between a 7 and a 9 on a 10 threshold, and the next day I knew I was way down at the bottom of the scale, and it was freaky. I didn't want to tell nobody. It was I'm a liar, or I've never been in pain. Well, I've thrown up from pain convulsions. I've thrown up my dinner. I've thrown up my meal. I've avoided meals. Pain people know what I'm talking about when you have pain convulsions. The next day, I was seemingly out of pain, at least from a 7 to 9 down at the bottom of the scale, hanging out at a 2 or a 3. It was so freaking noticeable, it's as though I didn't want to talk about it. I thought, this is a placebo. I'm believing in it too hard, it's going to crash on me on day 2. Some things are so good to be true, they're, as they say, they're not true. So, part of me didn't want to believe it, and a lot of me said, oh my God, I've got to believe it. I don't want to do beer anymore. I don't want to do alcohol anymore. I don't want to do drugs anymore. I've done every kind of pain pill there is. I've refused to do pain pills. I do not do Oxycontin, Vicodin. I don't even take an aspirin. I bite on a stick literally if I have to. And I've learned how to overcome emotionally. through other ways and devices of seeing, the power of the positive suggestion, power of the mind. I'm into that type of thing. So anyway, I was introduced to these ketones, and the next day I was seemingly reasonably out of pain, freakishly, to the point I didn't want to tell nobody. Well, I mean, I've been in pain for 45-year roller coaster. You don't have no news to tell anybody for one day. That's not scientific, and it could be just a thing. Day 2 arrived. No, it was still holding. No pain. Day 3 arrived. No, still down at the bottom end of the scale. Day 14 arrived. It's like, you know, I gotta say something. This is weird. Y'all need to know this. With all the things out there, there's different avenues of so-called pain. My sister's on, what's it called? Thrive. Another lady I know is on Plexus. In fact, she's a bigwig on Plexus. And in other words, she's made a level. All this stuff, folks, is pyramid plan. So is life, by the way. You got a boss, you got an owner, you got an SEO, you got a board of directors. All of life is a pyramid. Come on. I'm over that. I don't care for the way they set their structure up, and they got to sell it for XYZ, and you have to make a 20% commission. I get it. I didn't join this for that. I joined this because I found an avenue that helps so much. I'm compelled to tell others. And anyway, the lady on Plexus, who was of the hierarchy, and she arrived at some award, and she said, "I know people that are selling that stuff. I better give it a try." "Oh, could you please buy it for me?" Anyway, she tried it, called me back, or texted me the next day, and she said, "You saved my life." And like, what did I do? And she explained that even though she'd been doing Plexus and she took these ketones, she said it took her to a level way above and beyond, and she just lost her husband. She's in her 40s. She's been suffering from depression, and this gave her energy and clarity. That's freaky about this. It does give you clarity. I've been sleeping every day in my car for pretty much an hour a day for a long time because of pain. A major part of my day is in pain. Every day. It's been years since I've been on this level of pain nearly existent. It's been years. And last year I had open heart surgery. Life's different from that alone, let alone compounded by all the other injuries I've had, and thus, as we all have accumulated a couple nicks and dings along the way in this body that we call our, kind of like our car body of life. I got stitches. I got some stitches all over. Some you can't see. But we all got our battle scars. But I found a solution. And when you mix this up, this is about how much it makes. It's $5 a day, and you got to decide if your value system says $5 a day is worth it. When I realized $5 a day, how much am I spending a day? I'm at my shop every day, so it's not conducive or convenient for me to fry eggs at my shop or make a sandwich. So I kind of like eat out, but I make sure I eat at very good food restaurants. I'm very particular so that I don't gain weight now at this time of my life at 62 years old. I don't need to be, still got a little bit of gain, and want to take care of myself to the point now where I want to watch what goes in. This is from this packet, goes into this bottle. I just did this for this. I'm gonna drink this right now for this purpose of the video. But if you took this liquid here and maybe threw a banana in it, or if you're in pain, you don't do potassium. Bananas are potassium. So if you're in a lot of pain like I am, banana's not recommended. But there's other fruit that you can do. Mango, papaya, pineapple are okay for people in pain. But you check it out. It's called symptometry. There's a lot of foods that you want to avoid if you're in pain. Potatoes, tomatoes, salmon. There's a whole lot. And I don't want to argue. So in case if you got an avenue that works, it's not my deal. It's what remember, it's my chart, my pain. My percentage of life is based on this, not yours. kind of takes us out of each other's mind and allows that person to be in that space. You stand outside and help if that person needs it, but let that person be themselves. Don't try to tell them you know what they're going through. Don't try to pretend. Let the person explain. Create the platform for the person to complain or to vent, and then both of you will get along much better. You're not going to make it go away because your pain is somehow more special than his pain. We don't know what that is. We really want to give people that entitlement. So if you put a banana in this, your vitamins, your liquid vitamins, your powder supplements, or whatever, you shook this up or you put it in a blender, hey, for $5 and having a meal that keeps you out of pain. What meal can you eat that keeps you out of pain? I mean, that's already a ridiculous concept. So, if you made a meal out of this, and for that period of day, maybe for lunch, for a span of time, you're out of pain because you're going into ketosis, and within an hour after you drink this, your body goes into ketosis. It's searching around in your body for fat to accumulate, not carbohydrates. So it's really fascinating, and our bodies create our own ketones, or go into ketosis. Man, this is like, damn, this is high science. So I'm really excited about learning about this now that it's helping. Meanwhile, my foot's still soaking in ice, and it's stinging, because this ice is cold. Yikes, it is cold. I don't like doing it, but I do like being out of pain for a minute when I'm done. Last month, because I've been sciatic, right smack in the middle of my butt. Oh my God, does it hurt. Sciatic, if y'all know what that's like, is you can throw up from sciatic. I promised I wouldn't talk about another injury, but I have to, because last month I went to a chiropractor 4 times, once a week, like y'all probably have one. And in Asheville, North Carolina, we have chiropractors and alternative medicine everywhere. So this isn't high science here in Asheville. Maybe in your neck of the woods, maybe Toto in your land in Kansas, but not so much in Asheville. We have many alternatives here and schools that teach. Forgot what point I was on here. What point was I on? Anyway, moving along. You want to create a meal for $5 to get out of pain. It's a no-brainer. And besides, where can you eat lunch for $5? Well, if you throw a banana in another buck, you know where I'm going. Maybe you could throw some blueberries in there, blend it up, and flavor it. And for XYZ, you could justify, because your value system, the values that you have says, oh no, for $5 for the base and my additives, it's worth it. It's worth $5 a day. I'm an artist. I don't have a guaranteed paycheck. I don't make a Friday paycheck. And it really tastes good. I'm an artist. I don't have a Friday paycheck, and neither do a lot of you. You got to decide if $5 a day is worth it. To have the clarity that this stuff brings is absolutely phenomenal. Yesterday, after taking this for 3 weeks, is the first day I haven't slept in my car for at least an hour. Trying to manage the pain to get to the point of having a day. This is every day, folks. Sometimes it takes a half an hour to facilitate. In other words, don't think just because I sleep in an hour that on the stopwatch I go right into work action. It could take another hour, hour and a half to get the wheels turning. Pain people know this. This is not an on and off switch. It's a difficult conversation to have because not all of us feel pain the same way. George Burns smoked to 98. That guy didn't. You cannot. He didn't make it. Whatever guy at 37, 47, 67. We cannot compare people to the same standard. What hurt this guy don't hurt that guy. This guy does 23 push-ups. This guy does 4. I mean, we're all different, and we got to recognize the differences and allow differences to be. So, a lot of words, a lot of blah, blah, blah. Contact me personally. I would love to sell it to you so that I can afford to get my own on a monthly basis by helping other people by having this conversation. Not everybody who buys this has a testimony and is willing to tell anybody else. If people have known me throughout the years, and when I find out something, I tell them. That's the basis of my YouTube channel. Showing you, hey guys, this is how I solder. Hey guys, this is how I wash a window. Hey guys. And so it's a no-brainer for me, with the personality that I have, that if I find something that works, to tell others about it. So I don't want to hear the emails, the banter. You know, y'all got your way of doing it. You can do your, you know, I don't know what you're doing for medicine. It's none of my business. If it works for you, great. This is bringing me around to the point where I can work, and I'm so excited. Yesterday, again, my first day without sleeping in a car. That's pretty. That's a big deal. Throwing up, having pain convulsions. It's a big deal. 45 years, March 22nd. So I've paid for my opinion. I've paid for it through a lot of whining, crying, literal. I don't know how I'm going to do it. 15 plus years wearing a brace. It took a toll on my knee. They told me that my knee has to be rebuilt, but not going to do it, nor am I going to take this phone call. Just, you got to figure it out how you're going to do it. If you're interested in these ketones, let me know. I'd like to be the person to sign you up. I just signed up to sell it, and I want to see how it works. 3 weeks into this, it's blowing my mind, y'all. So I'd say give it a chance. They do have 2-week programs. You can test it out. Does it work 2 weeks to see if you can get out of pain? Not necessarily out of pain. It's fast recovery. And if you're a weightlifter, CrossFit, if you're a runner, if you work out, if you pole vault, and you got muscle tears, and you rely on working out. I haven't worked out, so I haven't worked out in 32 years. I'm looking forward to it because I now want to. I have an aggressive life where you lift that box, you lift that box, and all of a sudden you realize you're staying in shape. But I'm kidding myself. I'm going to start working out because I feel that good. And it's been 32 years. Since the birth of my son, I have not worked out, my oldest son. 33 years. So it's a big deal. For the people who are listening, it's a big deal. For people who want to make fun, what can I say? You know, there's many opportunities for people to laugh at people these days. I don't take that road. People know me, know that I'm about whatever I can do to help people. So that's my shtick. I know I'm a windbag.